Okay.
There we go. Okay. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Okay. I'm not even gonna go there. So, anyway, so this is finally the review part of Aliens because it is now finally finished, and Caboose also finished this game, and we're both going to put our opinions together, and we're going to call this a review. And we're not being biased. We're not like all those other gamers who didn't even play the game and called their reviews. This is going to be a legit review looking at the pros as well as the cons for Aliens Colonial Marines. So,
Indeed.
yes. So, to start off, let's start off with, there's a lot of cons, so let's start with the good things. What are the good things about the game? To me, I really like the textures. I liked how they literally put the movie into the game.
Agreed.
I
reconstructed the ships to be basically the 80s representations of the future.
Yeah.
Everything's still keyboards, everything's still basically like Macintosh screens.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even the ships look the same. Even the aliens themselves look the same. The Queen looks incredible. They definitely did a great job on animating the Queen. The Marines are fairly accurate, besides the fact that their lip sync isn't on time. But besides that, I do agree that the textures of the game is fantastic, and the fact that the storyline also ties into everything else as well. The storyline was kind of predictable because you already know what's going on. You already know that Weyland-Yutani's, the bad guy in this whole ordeal.
Oh, by the way, does everyone know spoilers?
Yeah, there will be spoilers. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's nice that they actually tried to make it a continuation of the game. Though, don't get me wrong, basically, I played it. I got the game for my birthday, finished it, and for it is a decent shooter. Though, I was not even though I was thinking about all the bad press before I played the game, I read about the development hell that the game went through, to the point now game developers are trying to say, the two developers that worked on it, development companies working at Gearbox and another company, trying to say, oh, they did this percent of the single player, no, they did this percent of the single player. So it basically went to hell, but I was optimistic because I liked Duke Nukem Forever, despite the press that I got. I mean, I enjoyed it because it was what it was. A guy with a gun, shooting aliens, saying cheesy lines.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't trying to be these shooters where it's like, oh, the horrors of war.
Yeah, exactly.
But with Aliens, I did enjoy it, but I can see the faults. I mean, you mentioned the textures, but to me, there's too many times where after you die or when a level load up, everything goes like all blurry, and then the textures come in.
Yeah.
It's like the game where someone goes, oh wait, I was going to put something here.
Yeah, you can tell that the game was rushed, despite the fact that it was in the making for 6 years. Which of course is why people are so greatly disappointed by the game, is because it was rushed. I mean, you can tell.
Know why that was.
I don't know why it was rushed. Please say.
Basically, Gearbox was a walking game, like they said. They did Alien vs. Predator, and this game was promised right afterwards.
Right.
The game originally was going to be a squad-based game, where you take control Marines and tell to seal doors, take up defense positions, set down turrets, and when you play multiplayer through level, people were meant to be grabbed by aliens and fenced and pulled up, and all kinds. So it was a big thing. Then Gearbox decided they need to work on Borderlands 2.
Oh.
But they had this game, so they outsourced it to another company, who did maybe, I don't know, hang on, I got my screen here. I think they did about 85% per se of the game.
So basically, because...
Hang on, here's the bad part though. When Gearbox got it back, Sega, the publisher, turned around and said, okay, here's the deadline. You will meet it. No ifs, no buts. So Gearbox had to finish whatever was left of the single player, make the multiplayer, and release it.
So basically, because Gearbox wanted to make a really good Borderlands 2, that's what put the downside on Aliens Colonial Marines?
In many respects, I guess that can be said, yes.
Wow.
I mean, problems of Aliens apparently cropped up before its release. People within the company that it was outsourced to were saying that the development of the game was not exactly going well.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of people really liked Borderlands 2, so you can obviously tell that Gearbox really wanted to make Borderlands 2 more than they wanted to make Aliens Colonial Marines, and that's why it was rushed.
I mean, here we go. Here we go. Just looking at this article now in PlayStation Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, pretty much. It's basically, I mean, outsourcing is not a bad thing when it comes to games. It helps. It helps things, but the problem is the different levels of quality control can occur. Now, I've done quality control as a job in a game company, and it's a very, very hard. Well, it's not going to be a hard job, but it can be a very tedious job and stuff. And playing the game, there were a lot of glaring bugs, like, when you fight the alien loader, the big one.
Yeah.
Then when you do, like, after a few smacks, your character automatically grabs and then pushes him back. I pushed him back through the fence, and then he came sliding back. And when you do the finishing move where you stab him and spin the loader arm, did you always have blood squirt out? Because mine didn't.
I don't know. It was really hard to tell. Like, I didn't have, like, any acid attack me because of the fact that I was doing that or anything. I did have blood squirt out everywhere, I think, on the recording.
For me, it didn't, which was odd because, it was a drill attack.
Yeah.
That was a problem.
Well, the game is also, like, Aliens Colonial Marines itself is insanely buggy to no end. Like, there are countless amount of bugs in it, and that may have been one of them, was the possibility of not having blood squirt, which, of course, I disagree with that whole fighting scene there to do the finishing move on the, what was it called? That big one?
The big alien?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I actually don't know. I actually forgot that's one of these aliens.
Yeah, like, they have names for all of the new ones except for that one. Like, I call it the Boulder. Or the...
That's what it's called.
I think...
I'm not sure it's the Crusher, is it?
The Crusher is the one with the giant plate that is bulletproof.
The four-headed one.
Yeah, that's the four-legged one.
Like I had to find that thing myself because the other two weren't exactly running to help me. No, they were taking a nice stroll around. But I mean, changed my thing, and they were barely shooting a shot at the thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that was the one thing that I hated the most about the game is when I started rage quitting about the big bosses, which was with the Boulder and the Crusher. The Crusher especially took me about 40 tries to finally defeat him. And the reason why was because the Crusher, as well as all of the little aliens, were fighting only me. And not the two AIs that were sitting there also shooting them while I'm trying to defeat this freaking Crusher. If I did not have the Sharp gun deal pre-ordered gun, the Sharp, I would not have ever beaten the Crusher. I just kept bombing him a thousand times until he was dead. And that's how I defeated it. Like, I was seriously, like, past the point of no return. I just wanted to be done with the game. I wanted to put it down at that point. But I didn't because I knew I was near the end. So then I kept continuing afterwards. At the same time, I'm glad that I finished it because I can't say that the ending was fabulous, but I can't say that it was bad either. I do like the fact that they brought Hicks back into the whole ordeal and added the little plot twist. I also like the fact that they brought Bishop back. Because that drove me nuts, was the fact that Bishop was back.
Well, you know, but he is a synthetic, so he's mass-produced.
Yeah, exactly.
His face is just his model.
Yeah,
So
he's just a model.
Lots of other faces.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. But it drove me crazy because I knew who he was and what he did in the previous movies. But no, the whole point of this whole review thing is to say that you have to give the game credit for the fact that it was rushed, because now I know why exactly it was rushed so badly. And Gearbox wasn't the one. Gearbox was the one. There were two companies, right? There was Gearbox and somebody else who was in charge of doing Aliens, and that other.
Now, Gearbox announced the game. Showing off from Texas. Well, an ex-employee of Gearbox responding to it. This is quoted from the magazine.
Yeah.
Responding to excitement over a preview, he wrote, "I wouldn't get my hopes up too high for Colonial Marines. The development of that game has been a total train wreck. Gearbox isn't even making the game, except for the multiplayer. Primary development, it was outsourced to Timegate Studios.
That's right,
Timegate. Which has less than stellar past."
Wow.
So a company called Timesgate made...
So Timesgate made the single player.
Majority of it, yes.
Yeah. So basically, there were supposed to be two companies, right? Timegate and Gearbox, and they were supposed to work together to make Aliens Colonial Marines. But Gearbox decided no, they wanted to make Borderlands 2, and so they shoved Aliens Colonial Marines aside. But that's not what the public wanted. The public wanted Aliens as well as Borderlands 2. So Timegate had to rush it to get it released at a fair amount of time, but yet when it was released, people were disappointed. Yet not a lot of people knew that Gearbox wasn't even helping. Gearbox just made the multiplayer, which I think they did a terrible job at. I'm going to make a separate review about that as well, as the multiplayer. Gearbox did not do a good job at the multiplayer, but Timegate didn't. I think Timegate did a great job with the fact that they were in this terrible situation. I have to give them credit for that. However, I would have rather them put 12 years into making the game by themselves rather than 6 rushed years, as well as making Borderlands 2. And you can obviously tell that Gearbox put more effort into Borderlands 2 than they did Aliens Colonial Marines. So with that in mind, we can't be so biased about Aliens Colonial Marines, despite the fact that it is not the best game in the world, especially in the Aliens franchise. So, with that said, let's move on to the game really quick now that we know the whole situation about Aliens Colonial Marines and Borderlands 2 with the two companies. So basically, back to the pros. The main pros that I really liked were the textures, the alien models. I did agree with. I was okay with the Marine models. I enjoyed the story plot twist. The cutscenes were fairly well done. Besides the fact that some of them were a bit texture glitchy. The lines were fairly good. The only thing that I wish they did more work on was the AI work.
Oh, yes.
The AI work was absolutely horrendous. You would see O'Neill with the smart gun. There would be a guy right next to the box, and he'd be shooting the box. O'Neill would be shooting the box and not the guy right in front of him. Like, the AIs were terrible, including the AIs with the aliens, especially the boss ones, except for the Queen. The Queen, I have to say, was very well done. The final boss battle was fairly well done. I agree with it completely. I actually enjoyed it. Except for, of course, what I call the Boulder and the Crusher. Those two were poorly done. But at the same time, like, the AIs for the aliens were bad as well. You would have technically shot the thing dead, or you'd think you'd shoot it, but instead it all of a sudden does a trophy attack on you, which you may or may not live through. Which is where I got stuck near the ending. I think that they did the beginning very, very well. The middle of the game got kind of repetitive because basically all the game was going through waves and waves and waves of aliens, or the what do they call them, the FTLs, or both. And that was basically it. Like, that's all you did. And then every now and then you get, like, the Lurker. They'd introduce the Lurker. They'd introduce the Spitter. Then the Boulder. Then the Crusher. And then the Queen. Like, it was just kind of, like, introductory stuff. And then came, So basically, that's how I feel about the pros of the game. I love the fact that they gave you all sorts of weapons. They gave you a ton of weapons to choose from, including bombs, which I think is really, really clever. I especially like their shotguns. Their shotguns were really, really incredible, which is why they were my personal.
Shotguns were good, but I'm going to have to agree with Yorty from Zero Punctuation when he said the grenades are useless.
The grenades are very useless, yeah. They only saved my life when I really wanted to keep my distance and not use my pulse rifle to shoot the humans.
What I liked about the game was the shooting was good. The level design was great. I mean, but to me, on a technical level, yes, it could have done with a month's worth of polish. Again, after doing Q&A testing myself, I got into this mindset. Now, when I look at a bug in the game, I think, how did you miss that?
Yeah.
But story-wise, retcons can work, and other times there's doing it just for the sake of doing it. Like, yes, it was neat to bring Higgs back, but to try and put it out, they don't. That for some reason, Wayland decided to get onto the ship, switch Higgs's body out with a synthetic, which coincidentally after they switch, the pods then injected after they did the switch before they can get to the other two, and the other ship was of course in 2 bits. So they basically did the switch, then the pods launch. They then decide to turn the ship around, take it back to LG 46. I've heard that number now. I hope I got the number right because I hear it so many times now in the game. It's like now it's stuck in my head.
Yeah, LV426. Yeah.
So they turn around, they go back to which, of course, the Marines are already on the way there. But by taking it back, and doing the experiments on the ship instead of the already established science facility on the planet, they brought major attention to themselves for the Marines, and basically declared war on the Marine Corps. I mean, here's a smart idea. Why not just let the ship continuously go on a drift off to wherever it's going, and let the Marines go chasing after it, while they keep their secret organized base on LG-426, because no one was going to go back there, because the place was nuked.
Yeah.
But surprisingly still had joint packaging and the electricity. I have to say, that place looked pretty good for a place that was ground zero for a nuclear explosion. It would have been more sense to have a giant cartoon crater. And the story was okay, but to me, there was too many like retcon and Wayland's whole plan. I don't know. They could have done a lot better. I was like, what was the point of bringing the ship back?
Yeah, I do agree with you on those points. The thing is I'm also keeping in mind that the game was rushed, and I think they kept extending it to that point, even though the continual storyline, is predictable. It's predictable what's going to happen next. I mean, you knew the girl was going to get chest bursted because you already know you can't take it out without killing the host. You just can't. So I think they kept extending it to the point where it wasn't all that fabulous because they wanted to put more hours into the game. I think I put over, I don't know. I think over 15 hours into the game. This includes the multiplayer, which I did spend quite a bit of time on to get a full gist of it so I could do a fair review on it. But I do agree that the storyline is not the best in the world, especially since there have been the 2008 or whatever, Aliens vs. Predator had probably a better storyline than this one did. But at the same time, keep in mind that it was rushed. And I think they were just kind of stretching it to the point where it was okay. Not great, but not too terrible. yet it was still predictable, but I think it was just so it could stretch the storyline, so you weren't putting like 3 or 4 hours into the game. You'd be putting even more.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that was Trap saying that he can play some League of Legends. I plan on playing it with him in a minute. But anyway. Yeah.
One thing I saw, Dan leading through a hail of bullets, so they're already bleeding acid on you.
Yeah.
So you more when you die.
Yeah.
Then when you turn around and panic, and you end up walking through even more acid. In a way, you're getting acid thrown on you. You might as well open the door and just throw it in your face.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not also like the trophy kill for the Marine, where it's, putting your pistol in the freaking alien's mouth and having it splatter acid at your face. I think that was...
I know that. I was thinking that just there, it's like, but it's gonna burn you.
Yeah, I know, so it's like, why the heck are you doing that? I mean, sure, you'd get some fair satisfaction from doing a trophy kill on the friggin' thing, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to burn my face off.
Yeah, it's something you have to think about. You know how you get armor kill?
Oh, sorry, say that again?
Whaling. When you kill the Whaling mercenary and you pick up his armor?
Yeah.
Why did you pick up armor you just riddled with bullets?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, this armor clearly didn't work for you, so wasn't it? It is now mine.
It is now mine. Yeah.
Also, one thing I noticed in the game, lack of health packs.
When
you lack a lack of health packs.
Oh yeah, lack of health packs. Yeah, I agree.
There's plenty of armor.
Oh yeah, there was armor everywhere.
Armor, like paper.
Yeah, you could wear 1,000 hats. You'd be perfectly fine.
That's what I was thinking. I was playing the game and I was picking up the defense. I was thinking, is he just swapping out or is he just putting one on top of the other?
Yeah, I know. It's just putting a ton of hats on. That's what I was saying during the LP. I'm like, I'm gonna have hats like none other. What? When I lose all my armor, is like my hats flew off or something like that?
I'm surprised he didn't just tape a bunch of hats to him at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But the armor would drain through armor so quick. You would have been just better off with regaining health through like a quality thing where after a while it does. Sure, it does have that if like a bar is all the way down, it fills up again.
Mm-hmm.
But when your armor doesn't really protect you, it just flies off after.
Yeah, I know.
Shot.
It's so easy to lose health and armor, but it's so hard to gain it. And that was a very big flaw in the game's part. And I think what it does is it spawns more armor because you lose that faster. And if you're actually running low on health, it'll spawn a health pack or two. But if you have full armor and full health, it's not going to spawn armor and health for you, regardless if you just lost it or not. I mean, near the end of the LP, which is not out yet as I'm doing this review, but as the ending draws near, just 2 hats just spawn right in front of my face as aliens are coming at me because it knew I was low on health, on armor, but not on health. But yet I still had only like 2 bars of health. So it won't spawn any, which I think is really ridiculous because you can lose 2 full bars of health just by getting hit by one spitter. And that's it. Then you get hit again and you're done for. So definitely the health system was very, very poor, along with the spawning of health packs and armor. As we keep going on, we're gonna try and wrap this up a bit with the pros of not the pros, we just did that. The cons of the game, which is fairly obvious. I mean, there were there were a lot of points in the game where it was just very poor. I mean, having all the aliens come after you and there are clearly 2 more AIs right in front of you is very poor AI mechanics on the enemy's part, as well as...
On that note, when it does have AI and new and whatnot, the other beginning where you have to go for like the gravity thing on the ship, like gravity generator, you run through it. I went straight to the door, started cutting it, and I got killed.
Yeah. Yeah, the
My
animations.
AI Frey didn't decide, he's clearly doing something to help me. I shall not do the same.
Yeah,
But he does it, and the aliens around him, they can try and bash him as they want, but he's still cutting.
exactly.
I had an incident where, when the Crusher one first starts chasing you, and you have to open the doors.
Oh yeah, and you have to open them and shut them. I went through that fairly well, but I could see me failing at that so badly.
I failed at it once, even though it's true. I went for the second door, quickly welded, even though it was right there. So it, patiently and very politely waited for me to finish welding the door. And I ran to the other one, and it only caught up to me. So somehow, it got through the door extremely quick, and I just welded. There was an incident during your LP that interested me where Bishop was holding an invisible gun.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. After, I didn't notice it at first, but...
I do have a theory now. I reckon, during the cutscene, of course, Bishop didn't have a gun. But I reckon, for some reason, his animation was based on the Marine animation.
You could tell that most of it was, and then there were, like, the cutscene parts where he was more human-like than Marine-like. But, so it was kind of weird how Bishop worked. But, what can you do, really?
It's on a technical scale. Also, weapons could... I got there's a pre-order thing, so I got Ripley's...
Sharp?
gun with the... Yeah, Ripley's gun with the flamethrower taped on.
Oh, yeah.
Flamethrowers are useful, and having the flamethrower taped on... And you can't really shoot, but I never really met many games where, apart from the old PS2 shooters, but nowadays hip shooting is a lot more accurate than sight shooting.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
Yeah.
There's no point trying to be accurate in this game. You just shoot.
Yeah,
shoot.
there is no real accuracy. Even though you can upgrade your gun to, like, increase the accuracy, you just fire randomly and just hope that you hit something. Because you are not guaranteed to hit it, despite the fact you are directly staring straight at it, you may not even hit it. So, the accuracy mechanics and the firing mechanics weren't very good, but I still like the fact that they gave you a huge variety. I wish they would have told you, however, that if you hold B, you can pull out any of the guns that you want, which I did not find out until I was fighting the Crusher, which is... Yeah, I went through the very beginning of the game all the way to the Crusher until I finally figured out that holding B was your arsenal. And it drove me insane.
For me, it was Triangle because I had the PS3 version.
Well, yeah, you had the PS3, but for the PC, like, B? Really? Out of all the games to pull out your weapon, or out of all the buttons to pull out your weapons, it was a B. Like, you couldn't have made it, like... Q or something a bit more close to your fingers instead of B.
So in a keyboard sense, that's a lot more frustrating to work with.
It is. It really is. And you can't crouch and pull out your arsenal. You immediately stand up. So if you're trying to change your weapon, so then while you're still crouching, so you're hiding from fire, from rates of fire coming at you, you can't just stay crouched. It automatically puts you to standing again. So you're getting fired at while that's happening. I think I have one scene where I died because of that. Because I was crouched and I had this whole army of FTL shooting at me, and I'm going, okay, I need to switch this weapon so that I can hit them easier. And then all of a sudden I hold B and I stand and I die because I get hit by all these bullets. So
I guessed at holding down the... Yeah, like you doesn't actually say about holding down the weapon. Mm-hmm. I just happened to guess holding down the change, two primary things. Because I was trying to figure out how to get Ripley's gun, and thought, if that's how I get the pistol, I just hold down the button, move up on the stick, and it brings up a new menu with all the other weapons, and that's how I found the assault rifle, which I didn't really find as effective as the pulse rifle.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there wasn't much. I mean, as you said, there was plenty of weapons to choose from. It's just I didn't use any of them.
Yeah.
The smart gun would be the best weapon.
Yeah, the smart gun was interesting. was an interesting weapon in the game because it wasn't 100% accurate, and you can't just hold the button and shoot and just hit everything you want like you could in the 1999's AVP2. You could just
2010 AVP.
Yeah. But in this game, like, you have to tap it in short bursts. You will kill the alien guaranteed, but it takes a minute for the smart gun to realize, oh, there's an alien there, even though it's motion censored. So that kind of drove me a little crazy, but at the same time, like, it was nice because I didn't have to worry about aiming. So I will say that the smart gun was okay. To wrap this up, because we've been going on for so long,
One very quick thing. I just got to ask one very quick question.
Okay.
Did doors take forever to open for you sometimes?
Did what? What open? What?
Doors. Did doors take forever to open sometimes for you? Sometimes
yes, but I think it's because when the game is loading, it like lowers your FPS so much that it lags. And it lags to the point that it's like almost impossible to open the doors in time. Like, I'll tap on E to open the doors, and it'll take me like 2 seconds or 3 seconds before it actually opens. And it was a very, very annoying situation to be in.
That's it. They're like, 1 minute I'm getting freaked. No, first I'm getting freaked out because two AIs that will follow me, suddenly teleporting a puff of smoke in front of me.
Yeah.
And I keep freaking out, going, stop doing that.
Just stop, please. Yeah.
You know, I'm there waiting for someone to jump out the chute, and of course they hear from me, I go, bang. Then I'm waiting for my door going, you know, I might as well be playing elevator music.
Yeah, you might as well.
But very quick, what was your favorite part of the game?
What was my favorite part of the game?
Yeah, like a level or something.
I will have to say, I'll have to say it's the very, very first level of the game. The very first area where you know that there's going to be an alien, like, introduction, but you don't know exactly what it is. And I like that they still kept the creepiness level in the beginning of the game. I mean, it was typical when the alien would show up, but the way that they introduced the alien startled me. Like, that's where I ended it. I screamed because I didn't expect it to be like that. And so I will have to say that my favorite part was the beginning of the game when I was first getting into it. And the introductory of the alien, because it took me like a good 8 minutes to kill my first alien because he was so weird in mechanic wise, and he kept hiding and he was trying to surprise attack me. So I will have to say my favorite part was the beginning of the game.
It was the stealth with the husk, so thinking about it now, it's really the most, to me, probably the best made part of the game because walking around slowly and stuff, and of course when they're moving around you, it just seemed to work. I wasn't freaked out, so I mean, it's just timing basically, and turning the generator from the run up and explode. But yeah, I think that's like probably one of the best parts made in the game. The husks bit, my only guess about the husks is they're the ones that got burned by the radiation blast from the nuke, and that's what they mutated into. And yeah, so I say that's probably my favorite part.
That's my second favorite level. Was the what do they call them? The boilers. I will have to say that was one of the most freakiest parts of the game that I had ever played. I absolutely loved that level because you didn't know which carcass was going to move.
I'm surprised you didn't find the doll's head.
I didn't actually put much effort to finding the doll's head because I was so into trying to avoid the boilers.
I found that by complete mistake. I just turned around and thought, what on earth's that? When it was like, oh, it's a doll head because I got a trophy pop-ups.
Newt's
go
doll.
sleep them out at night.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's Newt's doll's head.
Yeah.
How the hell did he get here?
Yeah, I know, right? There's one other thing that I want to say that I like about the game before we end this. We've already talked quite a bit about the cons, but there's one more pro that I'd like to announce is the audio logs. I agree with that. I really loved the audio logs. I got so excited when I knew that there were audio logs, and I'd search for them. And I especially like the one that was Newt's mom saying that she really needed to get out of the facility because she knew what was going on. And then you hear Newt's voice in it as well. And I have to say that audio log specifically was my personal favorite, but I loved the audio log feature. That was awesome.
I agree. I am a fan of audio logs, but I play Transformers for all the Cybertron recently, and I like hearing audio logs because I'm a fan of like expanded universes sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
And any audio logs of like pre-war stuff, after-war stuff, things like that. So I'm a fan of audio logs as well. I like that feature as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like she said, overall for me, the game was just okay. I mean, personally, I would probably play something like Duke Nukem Forever again, but it's definitely. I out of the three like shooters, I get mixed up about. I can have it's and but I mean, Duke Nukem. I'll probably play Duke Nukem Forever over this, but I'd rather play this over a game called Homefront.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Aliens are better made than Homefront.
Yeah. If I had to rate Aliens Colonial Marines, if I wasn't being so into the fact that it was rushed, I would give it a 6 out of 10, only because it really did have some good strong points, and the fact that it was rushed, which is why I don't blame some of the companies that rated it really highly. It's probably because they understood the fact that it was rushed, because they put more into Borderlands 2, which was a lot more successful, obviously, but Gearbox didn't care about Aliens, so...
No, it wasn't just that. They were given Borderlands... I was just looking at the article. They were given both Borderlands and Duke Nukem by Sega. And so it was Sega who outsourced it. Timescape did about 85%. They scraped it together.
Oh.
But when they got it back, that's when the deadline came, and apparently they had to rework a lot of it. And yeah, it kind of went from there. Hopefully in the future they can maybe come back to this project and give it a remastering or rebooting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. For me, I'll give it a 6 as well.
Yeah,
it
6.
was good as a shooter, but to me, too many technical faults, and that's a massive Alien fan who I'm really into the story. The story just has too many plot holes and retcons in it for me to really love it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I guess they sort of leave it on a cliffhanger as such, but at the same time, I don't know, I'd rather them go back and make maybe a sequel to the 2010 Alien vs. Predator.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice.
That's the sequel that needs made.
Yeah. But anyway...
Also, very, very quick, before I finish.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, go for it.
There is a Prometheus reference in there. There's a reference to the film Prometheus, because they did speak to Ridley Scott.
Yes. Yes, they did.
The game. And I did notice it straight away. It was that silly little map orb flying around.
Yeah.
So it's not sort of saying, but at the same time, think about it now, it can't work as a reference because it's not the same ship.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Unless that map orb thing somehow left the ship from that film, went exploring, ended on this ship, which then crashed on this planet, and it's still been going around since going, maybe I should map a bit more.
Yeah. I did like the Easter eggs a little bit. Like, the Easter egg itself, like the Aliens reference Easter egg, where they had the actual eggs as Easter eggs, spoilers, was really cute. And then they did have a Sonic the Hedgehog reference, but it wasn't, that obvious. And then, of course, they had the doll's head and all that, and then
and they had a Spaceball reference, and I didn't find it. I am really gutted to myself.
Ah,
the Spaceball.
The Spaceball reference was with the Chestbursters.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you went to the other room, you'd see the one with the hat and cane in it. If you clicked on it, then the other Chestbursters would have hat and cane on them. Sorry, Caboose. Anyway, on that note, we're going to have to call it good because we've gone on for too long and I have another friend waiting for me. So thank you very much, Caboose, for joining me in the review because, of course, obviously, I especially learned some things about the game makers that I did not know about. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for joining me.
Anytime.
and yeah. So what are your guys' opinions? What do you guys think about the game if you've played it? Do not put down your opinion on the game by watching it. You have to play it yourself. Otherwise, I'm not going to believe you. I'm not going to agree with what you're saying. So,
That's it. Play the game and just really tell me. I said I enjoyed it, but I understand the fault. So play yourself, and you may feel different to the reviewers.
Exactly. You might, and you might agree more about the people who haven't played it and called the review than what we did. But you know what? That's your opinion, and I don't expect you to go pay $60, $50 to play this game just so you can prove to me about your beliefs of the game. Like, wait until the game's price has gone down a ton before you put in your opinion. Or if you've already have played it, then please tell us your opinion because I'd like to learn more about it. So anyway, on that note, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed our little rant. I know I am. I'm glad that I finally got this off my chest. So, yeah. So,
You are now at peace.
I am now at peace with aliens. Well, not quite. I'd still need to do a rant about the multiplayer. But either way, that'll be another... Whoops. Whoops. Oops. Well, as I hung up on Caboose... Sorry. I'm sorry, Caboose. No. so on that note, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, farewell.
Bye.
You do my outro. How dare you? Bye.
Bye.